This is Morgan Hazelwood, back again with more writing tips and writerly musings.
Today I'm talking about When Plot Twists Go Bad, a Discon 3 panel. In December of 2021, I had the opportunity to attend Discon 3, otherwise known as last year's Worldcon. The panelists for the titular panel were as follows: Jen Gunnels as moderator, CL Polk, Narina Brelin, J.S. Dewis, and Leslie Robin. The description was as follows: when a story denies the audience the narrative they expect, reactions can range from "what a clever twist" to "that's awful" to "I feel used." What causes some unexpected plot developments to disappoint rather than delight? And how do you craft a satisfying surprise? Well, first off, let's talk about what are the worst types of plot twists. Number one, it was all a dream. Number two, when you're given clues and then something else comes out of nowhere, especially when it's done in such a way that you're suspicious that the author changed the original setup because, her beta readers guessed it too easily. The third bad type is plot twists that change nothing internally or externally. They have no effect on anything. Number four, when the writer dodges the obvious solution to force a plot point. And number five, basically anything that cheapens the end and makes what the characters went through matter less. So, what are the best sorts of plot twists? Well, number one, when you think you know what's happening, but just before the reveal, you start to suspect something new. Secondly, when the author gives you subtle breadcrumbs that don't become obvious until after the twist. What I like to call obvious, but only in retrospect. Number three, it doesn't need the breadcrumbs if the world has been set up in such a way that the twist makes sense in its own context. And finally, when the character reflects after the climax of the story, their perspective has changed, or even maybe the character was emotionally broken by the climactic confrontation and their motivations shift, leading to the next book. So, during the panel, the panelists also discussed some of their favorite plot twists or authors who twist plots right. Ender's Game by Orson Scott Card was mentioned. Joffrey's decision at the end of season 1 of Game of Thrones, or, it's in book 1. A lot of Brandon Sanderson's work. Chuck Palahniuk, the guy who did Fight Club and a bunch of other stuff like that. And one of the panelists was actually the editor for the upcoming book Hot Moon by Alan Smale, Smale. So that's coming out in June, but one of the panelists edited it and told us it's got some really fun plot twists. So, okay, let's talk about some of these common plot twisting tropes. First up, there are the twists that rearranges our perspective of the past of everything we've already read. The example given was Knives Out. Then, of course, there's the twist that changes things from now on. There's the twist that escalates the stakes. There's fridging, killing a beloved, typically female character to motivate the typically male main character. Not recommended, overdone, and often sexist. And then there's the onion style reveal, where you reveal new layers of characters that change your perspective of them. The example given was Snape in Harry Potter, but I would add Jaime in Game of Thrones. Your first introduction to him makes him seem irredeemable, and yet, So, let's talk specifically about plot twisting tips for writers. First up, point of view doesn't matter, but first person can make it easier to write without making the reader doubt the narrator. Secondly, you can do it as a plotter or a pantser or anything in between. Just make sure the setup is there before you send it off to readers. One note, the only challenge as a plotter is it's really hard to judge how surprising the twist will be because you've known it since the beginning. Another tip for writers, sometimes jumping ahead and writing the twist when it's fresh in your mind, especially if you're not a plotter, then backing up will help steer the story. Another tip, don't force it. If it's not organic, if it's not authentic to the story and the characters and the world, it won't work for the reader. Do know that it is up to you if you decide to let the reader know the twist before the main character finds out. It can build up tension for the reader that way around, but only if it works for the story. There are two common approaches to a twist. One is to approach it like a joke. Give a good setup and then go in an unexpected but logical direction. Or secondly, you can approach it like a grift. Let people make obvious assumptions that you never confirm while going in a totally different direction. Do note, if the story doesn't hold interest without the twists, you got to work on the story. And remember that you can fix it in edits, but every plot twist has to follow both the story logic and fulfill the promises that the story has made. So I think the final question is, do all stories need plot twists? Well, for short stories, typically the answer is yes. For narratives, it depends on the scope of the twist that we're discussing. All stories need something to subvert the expectations. But at its heart, the plot twist is a narrative tool. While many readers enjoy them, staying true to the story and the characters is paramount. A good plot twist can make up a lot of ground from mediocre characters or pacing. Do remember, plot twists have to be true to the character and the story, even if they're not convenient for you. Do you agree with the panelists? Do you have any favorite plot twists that didn't get mentioned?
And that's all for today. Thanks for listening. If you enjoyed this episode, hit that subscribe button and share it with all your friends. It goes a long way towards helping people find me. And I'll be back again next Monday with more writing tips and writerly musings. Bye-bye.